talking about conducting a speech evaluation with a student from Cambodia who speaks Khmer and English. Know, though, that this process will work for any pair of languages, whether we're evaluating someone who speaks Pashto or Greek. We can use the same process. So we're evaluating a child named Jack. He is 4 years, 4 months old. He was born in the U.S., attended an English daycare, and spoke Khmer at home until he was 18 months old and he moved to Cambodia. He was there for 2.5 years, exposed primarily to Khmer. He returned to the U.S. at the age of 4, and his parents and teachers are concerned about his speech and expressive language. His current language setup is that he is in all English classes. At home, he speaks English and Khmer with his father and Khmer with his mother. So when we're starting this process, we need a Venn diagram to know the sounds that are shared between two languages and the sounds that are unique to the languages. Now, the first place you're going to look is difference or disorder in that book. If your language isn't in that book, look at the blogs on bilinguistics.com and see if you can find it there. If not, you may have to create your own, and we've created this tool for you to facilitate the process that includes the English consonant phonemes and the English vowel phonemes, so that you can just highlight the ones that overlap and then know which ones are unique to English, and then you add the unique consonants for the other language. Here's what that looks like when you get through with it. A little messy, but it works. I went ahead and created clean versions of these for Khmer and English for the consonants and the vowels, but that's not necessary in the process of the evaluation. We also want to look at phonotactic constraints, things like where does the stress fall on words. Here we know that intonation can change meaning in Khmer. It's not a tonal language though. Consonant clusters can exist at the beginning of words and in the middle of words, but not at the ends of words. We know that words can end in either a vowel or a range of consonants included here, and there are a lot of consonant clusters in Khmer. Phonological processes are something else that we want to consider. Now, I couldn't find Khmer phonological process normative data, so I'm using what I know for English and Spanish and expecting that it's going to be somewhere in the same ballpark. And then I want to go through and analyze Jack's word production. So here was an English tool that we used. We're not using norms, we're just using qualitative data. And now we want to analyze Jack's production. So we're going to look at the target words. We'll look at how he produced them, and then we need to make a decision about whether those patterns that he's using are due to influence from Khmer or whether they aren't and they don't make a lot of sense. So the first word is dog. He says ga. We would not expect a substitution of ga for da in Khmer, so we put that one in red. The next word is crab. Ka exists in Khmer. You can have a KR cluster. It can occur in initial position. So there's nothing about that word that makes me say, oh, that's okay, right? That's not an error that we would expect. The next word is dinosaur. Well, here the weak syllable deletion, he says ye. The weak syllable deletion could be due to Khmer influence because words are 1 to 2 syllables but not more, so possibly that could be due to influence. The next word is elephant. Same thing with the syllables, but then we have this substitution of L with D, of la with da, and we wouldn't expect that because la exists in Khmer and it can occur in word medial position. So we go through each of the errors and we put in green what we think is okay given the Khmer background. For example, the word fish. These sounds don't exist. There's no f and there's no sh. So I'm not going to diagnose a speech disorder based on that sound. But when I see a lot of these red errors, that's when we do think that there's something more going on here than just an influence from Khmer. So once we've gone through the list of English words and have made decisions about those, we also want to look at his productions in Khmer. So we have a few here. One is by chug, and he says choo choo, so he's using assimilation. Choo do is one word, and he said doo doo, again, assimilation. Sabu, and he says de. So we have stopping, we have a vowel error, and we have weak syllable deletion. Kai, he says ta, so he's doing some fronting and changing of the vowel. So we're seeing a lot of errors in the native language as well, which is really telling. And then we also want to include in our report a process of what we're doing so that our reader really understands this process. So I included this paragraph that says, when evaluating speech skills in a bilingual child, the sound systems of both languages are considered, including both similarities and differences. Below is a chart showing the consonant and vowel phonemes of Khmer and English. For English words that the student has difficulty producing, we need to know if the sounds exist in Khmer and whether they can occur in that phonetic context. For example, the word fish is on the test. Using the Venn diagram, we can see that neither f nor sh exist in Khmer, so we would not diagnose a disorder based on difficulty producing sounds in English that don't exist in Khmer. A word like soap, on the other hand, does include sounds that exist in Khmer. So if the student has difficulty with these sounds, we would be concerned. So our ultimate diagnosis here is that Jack did demonstrate a speech disorder characterized by the use of phonological processes, including final consonant deletion, cluster reduction, weak syllable deletion, a little bit of stopping, and a lot of assimilation. While some of these patterns that we saw him produce could be explained by an influence from Khmer, many others could not be explained by Khmer influence. His errors were similar in both English and Khmer, which is indicative of a disorder rather than a difference resulting from interaction of the two languages in development. So our assessment was, we think that this is a student who needs speech therapy to address his speech disorder. And that's it.